Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, bringing you a full dive news, discussion, insights, all for VR gaming. We're brought to you by Asterion Products. If you're over here on YouTube, you're seeing this gorgeous new VR merch they're making. They got mugs, they got sweaters. I have a unicorn wearing a Quest 3 on my shirt. If you want that, code FULLDIVE is going to save you $5 on any $20 order over at AsterionProducts.com. I'm Jay Bratt. I'm a VR YouTuber, and tomorrow and Saturday I'll also be a streamer because tomorrow's the VR Awards and Saturday's Thankmas. We'll be hitting up donations for the Thankmas cause.
Woo! And I am Nat Bratt, a VR enthusiast who loves snails.
And I'm Lipnox VR, a VR YouTuber who finally put his, well, I don't know finally, but I put some Christmas decorations up, so I'm getting into the spirit.
Nice.
I got a couple things set up in my room and getting to that point. Getting all ready for the holiday, watching the Christmas specials.
Yes.
Well, it's not December 1st, so we haven't quite started yet, but I feel you because I actually wrapped a couple presents and I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel it now. I'm getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
I started breaking the rules when I first, like 2 years ago. I remember like saying like, oh, I'm only going to do Christmas movies after December 1st. And this year I'm just like, I just don't care. I want to watch them now. So I think I made it like a 30-day event. It's like, as long as it's like November 25th, then it's okay.
Nice.
There you go. Well, we all need a little more joy in our lives, and this podcast is here to give you joy and keep you up to date. VR realm, we talk about what's going on out there. We tell you what games we're playing. Come hang out with us on YouTube or listen to us on any audio platform. We're everywhere for you. We got some questions from you to answer.
We do. And we have a few questions from Chili's94, our favorite Q&A friend on the Discord. And Chili's asks, what age is considered too young and too old for VR?
Divisive.
Very divisive. So I would say, isn't there a thing where like you're supposed to be 12 or older or something? Because it can like, for younger kids, it can like make them think that things in VR really happen because their brains aren't fully developed or something. That's
based off one study. It's not fully proven, although Meta is now changing their minimum age to 10 instead of 12. So
I can see that because I feel like kids love like Gorilla Tag and things like that. And of course they want to expand their market. I feel like there's no age that's too old for VR. I feel like VR is great for any older age. What do you think, Lipnox?
So for me, I've put people as young as 6 in a headset and they totally loved it. But when you put someone that age in a headset, you have to monitor them like crazy, which is a intense version of babysitting. Because just helping them navigate, because they can't even fit the controllers properly in their hands, hitting all the buttons. So you got to pick the right app, and you have to watch everything they're doing, and then you're screencasting on your phone to make sure that they're not accidentally buying something or doing whatever. I don't know, but
buying all
getting
the
into
games.
A horror game.
I don't know. It's like you click a couple buttons in some of those apps, and you can buy 8,000 credits and whatever, and you know, suddenly like Rec Room, you go to the wrong page in Rec Room and you're broke.
True.
It happens.
True.
But, you know, that never happened to me. I was just being extra careful and making sure not in social apps because honestly, when they're that age, social apps are not a good thing at all. I would say that if we're talking social apps, like 13 should be the minimum. I would honestly recommend most parents say like 15, 16, unless they're like specifically hanging out with their friends because there's a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah, that's true.
And honestly, a lot of those people that are not that good are kids that aren't being watched by their parents that go on the headset and they're swearing and they're causing whatever. And, you know, it creates a whole situation where I'm like, oh, all these kids are getting these really bad influences when they come in here and probably negatively affecting their behavior. But moving on to the old people, I would say that if you can still physically wear a headset and it doesn't like hurt your neck or do something that is medically bad for you, then there is no reason you couldn't wear a headset forever. I plan to wear one in my coffin when I die, so that's where I'm going to be.
Nice.
Just in case you weren't actually dead, when you wake up, you'll have something to do down there.
Exactly. I mean, I'll bring some battery banks too, but...
Oh, man. Yeah, I've got to agree. I feel like basically the sign is if they can't do it on their own without you constantly there and constantly monitoring them, either too young or too old, it's probably not a good thing to let them do on their own. But yeah, if it comes to, if you're letting them go wild in social stuff, and most parents don't, I shouldn't say most parents, there is a lot of parents that don't care because I've been in the lobbies and I could tell that the kid is locked away in their room. The parents just happy they're not dealing with them. But I had someone in Rec Room was like, I'm 6. And I was like, please don't tell anyone that. and please stop playing this game. Like,
yeah.
it's fine if they're there with their parents, they're monitoring, they're playing it together, they're doing stuff, but like, it's just, kids shouldn't be let loose on Omegle at that age, and yet that happens
No.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's social, that definitely changes the game, but VR should be enjoyed by all people that can handle it, in my opinion. So I think moving it to 10 makes sense. Just maybe the single player stuff, but the problem is that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I was on a free app today, and there was, again, several kids, whatever the X8 app is, I wanted to see what it actually was. And and it was just, yeah, it wasn't very good, but there was just two little kids in the lobby, and they were just playing house in this game that was like a shooting game. I was like, what is happening here? I shot one of them, and they're like, don't shoot us. This isn't the game for that. And I'm like, it's a shooting game. What game are you trying to play?
Oh my gosh. Maybe there should
But
be
it
like
kinda-
a kid version or something.
it makes me want to take off the headset as soon as they have players like that. I was like, I might exit in this game. This community is not for me.
Oh my gosh. Lip, how many hours on average, Chili's wants to know, do you spend in VR per week?
So I mean, it's really hard to like judge per week, because if I have friends or guests over, I probably don't spend much in the headset at all. I mean, if I wake up before them, I'll be in bed, playing something in the headset, probably like Quake or something easy that I can just run around and shoot things. But honestly, because of the Quest 3's battery life, and because I don't have a headset that has power bank, and my power bank that I do have, one of them died and the other one's kind of on the fritz, where the cord has been bent, so it sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't work. And when I'm mid playing, I don't know that it stopped working, and then suddenly a headset turns off, and I'm like, well, that wasn't fun. But honestly, I think I probably spend on average about 2 hours a day, maybe 3, depending on the day.
Nice.
I used to spend way more.
Like 20 hours a week about. That's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine varies pretty wildly. Now, I haven't been doing Supernatural. I've been going to the gym and working with a trainer. So when I was doing Supernatural, it was usually at least like a half hour every single day just for that. Then usually the day that because I usually take one day a week to test the free games that we're going to talk about that week or other game list stuff. Usually that day it's a good chunk. It's probably 5 or 6 hours straight. And then outside of that, just for fun, yeah, I'm probably somewhere. It varies, but it's probably 10 to 30 hours. If it's a Demio week and I'm just really feeling Demio, it might be 50 hours though. Like if I'm testing batteries, I'm playing 3 rounds of Demio solo, 3 hours a piece by myself. I'm doing 8 straight hours in Demio. It varies a lot. It can be pretty wild, but it's probably Demio gets me in there the most when I'm testing batteries, because I can just sit there for hours and play, no problem.
I've been way less for a while, since haven't been playing Demio much lately, and also haven't been playing Supernatural much lately. So it's been like a couple hours a week, which is embarrassing.
You also work quite a bit. Like it's not, it's different too. For what we do, we are doing VR for more than just entertainment, but
that's true. Yeah, you're making content.
Testing all
we're
the
finding
crappy
Pop Quest adventure games.
And we're testing those crappy apps too to stop people from having to play them. But we'll talk about that.
I played a couple of those today.
Yeah.
Last question from Chili's asks, will you guys forgive me for not posting questions as often as I have in the past? And
Chili's.
My answer to that was, Chili's, if you'll forgive us for not answering a few of your questions. We actually have answered them, but episodes 93 and 94, there was all that transition happening and they still aren't edited. So I might just mix them together as like a Q&A only episode and launch it for you to catch you up on all of your questions.
Those were like full episodes.
They were,
recorded quite a while ago.
Yeah, we've been a little behind. A lot's been happening on our end. But we're here. We're back in here after we were just in here on Saturday, try and get caught up on everything. So we got to talk about VR news. But before that, we got to say one more thank you. Our sponsor, Asterion Products, they sent us these beautiful sweaters. Lipnox is in Canada.
Mugs.
He'll be getting one at some point here. But go over to AsterionProducts.com, check out the new stuff they got going on, and use code FULLDIVE to save yourself some money. And in the news, we got to talk about the Quest 3 Elite Strap. I dropped a video today on the JBrat channel chronicling my journey of trying to find out what the heck is happening with these things. For those of you out there who don't know or didn't catch that video, the Quest 3 Elite Strap with battery launched alongside the Quest 3. It's $130 and it's supposed to promise some extra hours of gameplay. It's supposed to communicate with the headset what percentage it has left while you're inside the headset playing. And if you have their official charging dock, it's supposed to reverse charge. So that charging dock will fill up your headset and then fill up the battery strap while it's plugged in all together. And so there's a lot of great promises. Well, then people bought these straps, and 3 days later, they stopped working completely for many people. We saw this issue. All of a sudden, they went out of stock on Meta's website, but they didn't say why. Then next thing we hear, Best Buy was throwing around the word recall and wouldn't sell them anymore. And now we have some news finally that Meta is stopping sale on them. Best Buy and Target have stopped sale, and they say they know the issue and they are trying to see whether they can fix it on their end or whether they have to replace every strap, but it looks like they're going to have to replace the straps. And so they're not going to recall them all. They are going to leave it as a case-by-case basis for each consumer to reach out individually if theirs is broken to replace it, and then they will send them a replacement, which reminds me of the Quest 2 Elite straps that were snapping. Lip, how you feeling, buddy?
I mean, $130 for this headset already sounded idiotic in the first place when you can get a way better headset from Bobo VR. So, I mean, it sucks for those people that bought that. I would never recommend anyone buy any of the Meta accessories. They're overpriced and they're poorly made. I'm not into any of them. They do have knuckle grips that look kind of cool. I'll give them that. But other than those knuckle grips, I have no faith in anything accessory-wise they're making, because it is like $130 American. What is that, like $200 in Canada? Like that's an insane.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like, I could buy like several. Like my headset that I love, the head strap that I actually use, literally cost me $27 Canadian shipped for my Quest 2, and it works on my Quest 3. And I got some Studio Form, extra things that make it a little bit better with counterweights, but like, what in the world is costing $130 other than just milking the consumer? And it's insulting that you would then have breakage on the first ones and then come back on the third one and not even test that either. And you have no charging. Like, its main purpose of what it's supposed to do doesn't even work.
So terrible. It reminds me of like movie theaters, like how you go in, you buy your ticket for your movie, and then all the snacks and stuff are extremely expensive to try and like subsidize their costs and stuff. I feel like that's what's happening here. It's like, okay, the headset, not as cheap. Quest 3 is not as cheap as Quest 2, but it's still like, probably not costing as much as all of the production behind it. So they're like, yeah, everyone buy our super expensive accessories. They're great, even though they're terrible. So yeah, it's just
so do you like the movie theater? Sneak the snacks in. Get your Bobo VR headset and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, I would agree. That really does feel like kind of how it is. It's like third party is sneaking the snacks in, and that's what I do. The only Meta accessories I usually ever review are the ones that get sent to me. Although in my quest to figure out what was going on with these straps, I had to buy one from Target, and so now I'm stuck with one in this same situation that all of you are out there who bought one and now don't know what the heck's going to happen to it. So that's fun.
Very fun.
Yeah, but that's pretty much the whole situation. It's now up to you. If you have a broken strap, you need to contact Meta and wait for them to send out these new ones to replace it. The weird thing is it said it was a firmware issue, which I would think there'd be some way to redo firmware, but I guess it's only plugged into the headset. That doesn't necessarily mean there's any data connection that can change anything. So I guess they have to replace it. It's unfortunate.
It is.
Yeah, I just don't get it how like all the third-party companies, I've never heard a single issue like this happening, but the Meta one is the one that screws up. It's just like,
yeah,
it's just sloppy and weird, and it's a bad look. It's a bad look for the company.
It really is.
Yeah, at least the headset's working, I guess, the actual headset.
Yeah.
And it's working because we played games on it this week. Nat, you spent your 3-hour weekly allowance on Behind the Frame.
Oh my gosh, I think I actually did. Okay, so Behind the Frame, it is a puzzle game, I guess, with an art theme where you're basically like this lady and you are like finishing your painting for this art show and you're going around your little apartment doing menial tasks to eventually get to the next color that you're going to use for your painting. So, and it has lots of cutscenes. The cutscenes are adorable. They look kind of like anime-esque. There's a really cute cat that is like your neighbor's cat. But oh my god, this is such a freaking glitchy game. It is so glitchy and it's so freaking frustrating. And I feel like it would be a cute little game if it wasn't so glitchy. But it's like, so there's like 6 parts or episodes or whatever in it. I only got through the first one. I was on the second little episode thing. Because if you do anything out of order, it completely just messes it up. So you have to like quit the game and start over. I couldn't even like go to the menu. It wouldn't let me choose to like stop and go back to the menu. I had to actually quit the game and go back into it if I wanted to start over. And there's like these little like floaty glowy things coming up from things that you're supposed to like interact with. But sometimes it does that for things that you have to interact with first, and sometimes it doesn't. So sometimes it does this and you think, oh, I need to go over here and interact with this thing, but it's not time for that yet. So it won't let you do the things that you're supposed to do. Like, for example, there's this like flower, like kind of wood cut thingy, and you're supposed to press in the little leaves for the dark colored leaves that are on this little drawing. And if you didn't find the drawing yet, then it doesn't do it. So I spent like a whole bunch of time trying to figure this out. Anyway, and it's also like the big like thing at the end of each episode is basically memory. Like you're supposed to like look at a thing and remember certain little details of it for this other thing. Like the example that I just said, where there was like a picture of a flower with leaves, and then you have to go to this woodcut thing and know where the dark green leaves were. And then this other one is like there's like this picture and you have to go to this thing that's like, it's like, I don't know, but you have to remember like where the little windows were, and you can see it for like 2 seconds because it goes away because it's glitchy, and it's just horrible. And I kind of hated it, but I also really wanted to get through it. But Libnox, you bought this. Did you play it?
So I've been watching all the Studio Ghibli movies for the past like 4 months, or before, several months prior to this game coming out. And it shows up on the Oculus or Meta Store with no warning of it coming out. And I'm like, this would be a great game to make a video on. I have the title perfectly. Studio Ghibli anime VR game. Best ever. It's going to be awesome. I buy this thing. I start it up and I'm like, all right, we got a cool anime cutscene. All right, we got things that I can be excited about. It's got a really cool trailer, and the art style is super like Studio Ghibli. But then everything is just broken and terrible. Like there is a painting, which is the main part of the game, and the window has a curtain that clips through the painting continuously. Like you can't even properly, like it's like you couldn't even figure out that part, the most basic thing. Like you said, like every single action requires you to pick up the exact right item at the exact right time and hold it in the exact right way.
Yes.
Weirdly enough, you can just pick up eggs and just eat them with your hand, which makes no sense. Like I played this and I was like, this is so bad. But I love Studio Ghibli and I want a good anime game like this.
Yes. On
paper, this should be good. This should be good. And then I'm like, you know what? I just need to, I probably was just frustrated. I'll leave it alone. And then that was before I even had a Quest 3. Then I got a Quest 3 and forgot it existed. And then I see it on this list and I'm like, oh, I have to play it again? All right, maybe I was a little bit picky. I was wrong. Get back in. No, it's worse. I literally get to the end of my chapter after doing all these frustrating, tedious tasks in order. And I paint the thing red. Perfect. I did it exactly right. Nothing happens.
Oh,
all right. I keep trying to paint it. All right. Nothing happens. About 5 minutes of me just trying to paint everything on the screen for something to happen. I realized, the game's just broken. Turn it up. Exit the game. Go back in. Oh, no, you're at the start of the day again. Time to go and do all the stuff again. I'm like, no, I'm not playing this anymore. This is, I wish I refunded it.
So terrible. And it reminded me of, so I don't know if anyone's ever played the Rebecca Black game, but the song Friday, and she's talking about like, gotta get up, gotta eat cereal and all this stuff. Someone made a little game back in the day when like, it was like the big thing. And it had where you had to like, go like eat your cereal and go like wash your hair and like do all these things. That game was super fun. But it reminded me of that. It's like, okay, I'm doing these menial tasks. I'm getting up, I'm making my breakfast, I'm making my coffee, and it is so freaking dumb. And it's like it's not even utilizing VR, because it's like you have this egg, and instead of like cracking it, you have to just put it in the air, like Lipnox was saying, just put it in like the exact right location, and then it just does a little animation of it cracking into the skillet. And it's like, what is this? It's so dumb.
Do either of you know any of the history, or can you tell me why this game is so broken?
I don't know. I'm just sad.
I have a strong suspicion, and I hate to be this way, but I've noticed that almost all of the games that come from Japan that are in VR have this level of jankiness to them that
Mm.
they just don't like. It feels like they like love beautiful art, but when it comes to
Mm.
gameplay, they completely fail on every VR game. And I've played a lot of like smaller games, but this is the first like expensive one that I played that was like this, and I was like, wow, like this cost me $25.
I am
This
so sad for you that you spent that much on that game.
this game
Yeah.
has an overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam. 4,000 ratings on the flat version that came out 2 years ago.
Well, okay, now we know what's going on then.
Now it all makes sense. This
Yeah,
game is a beautiful game with art and even a little sadness, dread. People in the reviews talk about this game delivers on everything when you play it flat. And what did they do? They slapped a VR coating on it and sold it as such, and it's terrible in
So
that respect.
bad.
But if you go play this on Switch, Steam, I bet you would have a just beautiful experience with this game. But VR was not the way to play it, at least not
No.
yet.
It could be if they just would fix the glitches. That's what made me
Mhm.
even more frustrated. Is like I could tell when I was playing it, like this could be great. The cutscenes are gorgeous. The like idea of it is cool. You're like in your little apartment. You have like your little like environment, your little coffee and stuff. You're like looking out the window, and I can see how it'd be great if it didn't break every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yes. Well, that is the
I
root
would have
of
had
the
fun
problem.
making breakfast if I could like actually grab the frying pan and flip the
Yes.
eggs and actually put the
I
toast
wanna
in the
crack the
toaster,
egg.
press a button. I mean, the coffee, I can't even press the button on the coffee machine.
No,
Like,
you put the
no
coffee.
satisfaction of any kind.
You put the little bag of coffee beans in the air, and then it does
Yeah,
little animation.
You don't even
like,
put
what
water
is
in.
this?
You don't press any buttons.
It doesn't show coffee in your cup when you put it under the
Yeah.
coffee machine. It's like your cup is still empty. It's like, what is this? Don't make it VR if you're not going to really make it VR. So sad.
Lip, you mentioned that you played some bad games. Is tonight a bad game night? Are we talking about only bad games?
Yes.
I do
Oh.
have one game. I mean, I could tell you about a game that's bad if you want instead, because I didn't play much of it today, but I did play it. But
wanna
there
hear about a
actually
good
is a
game.
game I like.
I want
There
to hear
actually
about
is a
good
game I like, and I use the term game very loosely on this one,
Mhm.
but it's called Pillow, and it is a game
I
that
just talked about
you were
this. Go
supposed
on.
to lie in bed and stare
Mhm.
at your like ceiling and play VR. And there's 4 experiences in it, and every time I play it, it puts me right to sleep. So I actually really love it,
Aw.
and it's one of 2 applications that I can play staring into the ceiling, unless I'm doing something like virtual desktop with a floating window.
Mhm.
And it's actually like pretty legit. I mean, you have the one of the things which is like a choose your own adventure storybook thing, and you just kind of pick
Ooh.
options as it reads the story to you. And the voice acting's pretty legit. I mean, I don't really want to like watch a story being read in front of me like that, because it is just the book pages and there is background, but it's not that exciting. But then there's another one that's like a visualizer thing, and you kind of choose your mood and basically get put into this like visualizing thing that's happening in front of you. And that was kind of cool, but it has like 2 that are like the legit ones, and they say they're going to add more if it's popular, so hopefully they do, but like more than the 4 games or experiences, I should say. But one of them, which is the main selling point, is like a stargazing one, and you have to use your controller to scan around your ceiling where it'll like move it, and you're trying to find constellations, and when you find them, it gives you a little mini game where you have to shoot stars at them, and it'll read you everything about the constellation. You can grab it and look at a 3D version of the constellation. And it's all the voice acting for all this is like super chill. This is the constellation, this thing. And it feels like you're at like a planetarium or something. It definitely has that vibe. And I was satisfied. That was my $10 spent. I was okay with that. But they made this other game, and it's a fishing game, but it's not a fishing game at all. So you fish into the sky, and you do a short mini game, and then bubble thing like fish come out. But there's a topic every single day in this app, and users can record their own fish. So it'll be like, what was your greatest achievement in life? What is
Aw.
something you feel proud of? And all these amazing people that bought this app record lines every single day and throw them in here. So every time I go in, I'm hearing just people just talk about cool stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is like a thought bubble type of thing. And everyone in this app is already put to like relaxing state. So when they're talking, it's like calm and relaxing. And honestly, I've spent at least 45 minutes several making sure to hear every single one I can get access to. And
That's
it's
so
the reason that I
cool.
keep putting the app on, because it's like I haven't recorded any of my own yet, because I'm like, I need to have the perfect one, because I can't go on and not nail it. But whoever's recording them is doing a great job, and I honestly feel like that was the feature that made me need to cover it for this, because I super loved it. There was one person won concert tickets, but they only had one concert ticket. So then they entered the prize thing again and won another concert ticket, and then ended up getting to go on stage with the artist that was at the concert. And I was like, oh, I love this story. Like, and I super remember it right now. Like, it was super great. And some people are just like, oh, what's something you feel happy about? Oh, seeing my kids every day. They make me feel happy. Or, spending time with
Aw.
my friends. But it was just extremely positive vibes. And for an application where I'm about to fall asleep and I kind of want that easy, relaxing time, it puts your
Mm.
mind in a good place to go to sleep and have some positive, happy dreams, instead of, feeling all negative or anxious
Yeah.
or whatever. I hope that more people make more of these types of like relax in bed and do
Mm.
things kind of games. The one flaw that I will say with the game is that, unfortunately, because it is a pass-through kind of game, because this is all pass-through, I should have said that.
Mm.
It's just the ceiling part that opens up, but you have to have lights on to be able to see past through.
Oh.
So I can't be sitting in the dark playing this game. Maybe I can. I didn't test that part, but it defeats the pass-through part of
Yeah.
the experience. So maybe the developer can create a version of it or have an update where you can flick off pass-through mode, and I can still play in the dark with IR lights, and it'll still work.
Mm.
But either
Yeah.
way, very relaxing and very much. I mean, we didn't even have to say yay or nay on the last one, but I would say very much this one. If the idea of lying in bed and doing relaxing types of things like this, or any of the experiences, sound like a good buy, it's like $10. So
Nice.
it definitely gets a yay for me. So
Sweet.
what about
Dose
you,
of-
Jay?
Sounds
Have you?
nice.
It's a dose of positivity, which we all need. I think that does sound really nice. And I was actually looking at Pillow and curious about it. While we're talking about a dose of positivity, we got to celebrate. The podcast hit 4,000 subscribers today on YouTube,
Aw. Yay.
which is amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
I'm going to try and stay on the positive train because it's been a long day, but there's a free-to-play game right now because it's early access. You can test it out on App Lab, and it's called the Woozles. And
like Huffalumps and Woozles from Winnie the
I have
Pooh?
I have no idea.
I don't
It
think so. It's
reminded
got
me-
like a steampunk logo.
Oh.
It does. It's like steampunk, but it's a mixed reality game. It's interesting. If you have your room set up right where there's like tables and shelves and stuff, what it does is it sets up these boards around the room, and you have your little Woozle troops that come out one after another, kind of like lemmings, and you have to put down devices that either redirect them, split them, have a rope connecting them from one part of the room to the other. So it's kind of a puzzle game based on this like geographical panels that are around the room. And then from there, you need to get them to explore it, find all the crystals, collect them to open the portal to the next one, and then get your main guy through that portal out to the next room. And it's very early, but it's just cute. It's a great use of mixed reality. And it's free to try right now, so there's nothing to lose if you check it out. But it was one of the free games that I tried on my free games list this week that I was just like, this one was delightful. It was chill, but it reminded me of something I just haven't really felt in VR. Some of that like feeling like a deity simulator, something like that. You're controlling all these little characters from above, but you're trying to take care of them. You're trying to help them. And it just felt kind of cool. So I like that. I wanted to bring it up because it's free, so everybody can try it. But another free one I just thought I'd bring up because it's kind of unusual. Flight Fight is a game that just came out recently, like days ago, in fact. And it's a game where you are like an eagle or a hawk, and you fly around this like cyberpunk little arena, but you have guns. And when you fly, you have to flap your arms as actual wings to fly.
Nice.
And then you shoot based on where your head's aiming. And if you're the predator, you're all trying to take down the prey, you're trying to shoot them. But then if you're the one who shoots them, you become the prey. And so you're trying to outrun everyone else then. And it took me back to like the early days of Gorilla Tag when everyone was like, what the heck is this locomotion? They were trying to figure out. It was weird. It was new. It was unusual. This kind of felt like that. that time again. And it makes me wonder, I was like, man, I don't know if this game has enough to it. Like, it's going to have to move fast. It's going to have to update quickly and add more. But if it does, I feel like it could be another one kind of like Gorilla Tag that people are like, oh, I like this. It's active. It's got me moving around. And yet I'm having fun in this competitive, fast moving game. But have either of you seen anything about that?
I mean, I saw from your video.
I saw it on SideQuest and I was like, that kind of looks dumb.
Yeah, the trailer.
But if you say it's good, then I will check it out. There's so many games on SideQuest. You kind of look at some of the pictures and you're like, do I want to do that? And I'm like, flapping my wings, multiplayer. Maybe not.
I don't know if good is the word I would throw at it yet, but I will say, first thing I stepped in, there was a moderator in there the moment I got in, and no one knew. The developer didn't know I was going to get into this, so I was surprised. A mature moderator who was kind and helpful and like taught me the motion. But once I got it going, I was like, okay, it's really neat once you figure out how to fly and kind of get going, because it feels unusual, just like Gorilla Tag did. But I mean, when it comes to my comparison, I wasn't someone who played a bunch of Gorilla Tag. I thought it was neat. I liked that they were trying something new. I didn't play it for 1,000 hours like other people did. And this kind of feels the same way for me. Like, I may not go back and become a champion in this game, but having tried it, I value the experience. I like that it was trying something new. And if they add more modes or they change it, I will go back and see what they've done to it, because I'm always curious when a VR game tries something new, because as we saw with Gorilla Tag, look what happened with that. That's like probably one of the top VR games of all time now.
Yeah.
And it was just at that point when I tried it, it was just something new and weird.
For sure.
Did you ever get into the game Squid Smack?
Smack.
I feel like
it was
I heard
you were
a lot
squid
about
underwater, and it kind of had a weird like flapping your arms kind of locomotion system. It felt like one of those kind of things too. That was like, let's take Gorilla Tag, but do it different.
Yeah, I think I briefly tried it because I think I talked about this on a free games list.
I think I commented that you talked about it.
Yeah.
Mental note.
Squid Smack, I remember playing a little bit, kind of the same thing. Yeah, but there's like so many games that are trying to emulate Gorilla Tag, where this game, Flight Fight, it doesn't feel like it's trying to be Gorilla Tag. It feels like it's doing something new, but I worry that it may not have the legs to like stay alive long enough to reach its final iteration. So I'm curious to see what happens with it from here.
So for those two games, yay or nay on them?
Flight Fight, it's free. I would say go try it if whatever you've said interests you. Woozles, though, I would say, right, because it's free for now. I don't think it's going to stay free. I would definitely, if you have a Quest 3, you're into mixed reality, I would go give it a shot. At least play around with it once and see, too. Because it's when it comes to free stuff, there's nothing to lose. And I think both of them were something I value the experience I had in it. And that ultimately, with free games, is why I would yay or nay it. But you have nothing to lose. It's not like if you ask me, should you go pay $10 for Woozles right now? I'd say, well, probably not. But it's early access. So let's see how the game develops.
Yeah.
I added it to my account. I did add it right away when I saw it, but I have yet to boot it up. But I'm probably going to do that tomorrow pretty early on in the day, because I want to try that one out. And there's another mixed reality one that just came out that I want to try out as well. But
I'll be curious to
play
hear your
behind
thoughts.
the frame today.
Painful. Well, what out there are you playing? Come join our Discord server. Let us know. Tell us what things we should play. What are we missing out on?
If you haven't played PopQuest Adventure yet, play it and leave a review.
We talked about that one last episode, yes. That is another free game.
And both me and Jay left reviews, like we said we
I did too.
Oh,
I left one last
time.
night.
Okay, we are now 25% of the review section.
I actually emailed the developer and he responded. I haven't responded again yet. I need to.
Yay.
But he responded. So we'll probably have him on the podcast, honestly.
Yes.
If they're willing. So yeah, watch out for that. And if you want to be mentioned on the podcast, come ask us some QA questions on the Discord server. We like to answer those for you. And we just have fun here. 4,000 subscribers today. All of you supporting us. We really appreciate it out there. Whether you're here on YouTube watching, seeing the visuals, or whether you take us on the road with you, thank you so much. And if you still are listening, but you haven't quite made it into VR yourself yet, it's time. Oh, wait. It's time to dive on in.
Dive on in.